Hey guys, and welcome to this brand new After Effects tutorial. And in this tutorial, we are going to learn about how to create this jittery type of effect. So here in After Effects, magsisimula tayo by creating a new composition and then setting the name of your composition to jittery type. Now, yung default setting ng HDTV 1080, the 24 frames per second, and also 5-second duration time should be okay for us. So hit OK. Next, gagawa naman tayo ng background for our composition by hitting Layer, New, Solid, and make sure that it's comp size, and click OK. And then, on the Effects and Presets panel, just type in the word Fill, and then apply the fill to your new solid layer. Then let's adjust the color of this to a dark orange. So ngayon naman, let's create some text. So with the type tool selected, just type in the word always at the center of the screen. And I'm using a font called Architect's Daughter, which I will link in the description below. Let's center this on our composition. If you do not see that align panel, just go to Window and Align, and it should be there. Ngayon naman, let's duplicate our text by hitting Ctrl-D and making sure to turn off the visibility of that layer. Double-click the duplicate layer and type in Keep for our next text. Do the same, Ctrl-D for this layer. Double-click it and type in the word Learning. Ngayon naman, let's adjust the size of each layer by adjusting the font size ng text natin and toggling on the visibility of each one. Now, make sure na i-align natin sila bawat isa sa center ng ating screen. Ngayon, we will stagger naman our 3 text layers. So, place the current time indicator in the 1-second mark and turn on the visibility ng tatlo nating text layer. Select the Keep layer and hit open bracket. And then press Page Up and select the Always layer and hit Alt close bracket to cut it to that point. Then move the current time indicator to the 2-second mark. Then select the Learning, hit open bracket, and then select the Keep layer, press Page Up, and hit Alt close bracket. And there, you should have now a staggered layer nung tatlo nating texts. Next, we will create a duplicate of our background layer. So select our background layer and hit Ctrl-D, and let us adjust the Fill property to give us a color blue tone for this one. Hit OK when you're happy. Next, with our new background layer selected, hit Ctrl-D again para ma-duplicate. And then, i-adjust natin yung kulay na to give us sort of a green color. Or maybe something red, I think will be okay for our purposes. When you're happy, click OK. Ngayon, kailangan naman natin i-align yung mga bagong backgrounds natin to correspond to the specific text. So, select the second background that we created and scoot nyo yung in-point niya to align with the Keep layer. And then do the same for the third background, scoot it to align with the Learning layer. Now you see na every second ngayon, nagpapalit yung background natin and the associated text. Ngayon, pwede na natin gawin yung jittery effect. So move the time indicator to somewhere where the always text is, and then select the always text. And in the Effects and Presets panel, type in the effect Turbulent Displays. Now, drag the effect to your text layer and immediately mapapansin nyo that it will warp your text. Now, let's adjust a few properties. Set the amount to 20 and the size to 15. Now, pag twirl down nyo yung evolution options, makikita nyo doon na merong random seed. If you play around dun sa random seed nyo, makikita nyo yung effect dun sa text natin na nagkakaroon ng jittery effect. So, para ma-automate natin yung pagpalit ng value ng random seed, we need to add an expression. So, press Alt and then click on the stopwatch. And for the expression, type time is 50, and then click anywhere to place the expression. Now, if you place our time indicator in the 1-second mark and hit N to trim our comp and work area, and then let's preview the animation, mapapansin nyo that the jittery effect is now in place. Except that nagbabago yung value niya every frame, which is not what we actually like. So para ma-adjust natin ito, we need to add another effect. So go to your Effects and Presets panel and type Posterize Time. And drag this effect dun sa text natin. And what the Posterize Time does is ina-adjust niya manually yung frame rate ng specific layer mo. So currently, we are at 24 frames per second. Now, let's change this to a value of 6. Ngayon, pag preview na natin yung video, mapapansin ninyo that the effect now, or the jittery effect now, happens every 4 frames, which is the kind of effect that we want to achieve for this jittery type of animation. Ngayon, we need to apply the same effect to our other two layers. So, twirl up the always layer, and then shift-click the posterized time and the turbulent displace effects, and hit Ctrl-C, and then select both the keep and the learning layer and hit Ctrl-V to copy the effects on those two layers. Now move our time indicator to 4 seconds and let us hit N to expand our work area. Now let's do a ramp preview by hitting 0 on your numpad. And then you will see there na in effect na yung ating jittery type of animation. This is the kind of effect that we want. Now, pwedeng hanggang dito na lang yung animation mo. But if you want to extend it a bit further, let's try to add some noise to our animation. So, go to Layer, New, Solid, and select it as black, and then type in Noise as the name. And then in the Effects and Presets panel, type in Turbulent Noise, and drag it to our new solid layer. This should add a noise effect dun sa layer natin. Now, let's adjust some of the settings. Set the contrast to 500, and the brightness to a value of about 150. Twirl down the transform property and change the value of scale to 40. Now, what this effect does is it creates random noises. Makita nyo, itong mga spots na to, no? Medyo hindi siya obvious, pero they're there. So, let's twirl up the transform property, and then twirl down the evolution options, and then Alt-click the stopwatch for random seed, and type time times 50 to add an expression. Click anywhere to place the effect. Now, let's twirl up the properties of this layer, and then select the blend mode to multiply. Ngayon, mas makikita nyo na yung specs dun sa layer natin. Now, let's duplicate the layer 2 times by hitting Ctrl-D twice. And then, scoot nyo lang yung layer ng noise, yung dalawang layer ng noise para hindi sila sabay-sabay na nagsisimula. So, ngayon, pag preview nyo na to, mas makikita nyo na ngayon yung noise dun sa background. So, that is the effect that we want to achieve for this part of our animation. So, ngayon, subukan naman natin lang maglagay ng texture dun sa animation natin. So, I have here a grunge texture that I downloaded from the internet. I will add the link dun sa kung saan ko na-download ito in the description. So, just drag it on top of all of your layers. Let's pre-compose this layer by hitting Shift-Ctrl-C and making sure to select Move All Attributes and then type Texture to the name. Next, double-click nyo yung texture composition to open it in a new window, and then hit S to adjust the scale of your texture. So adjust it to about 150+%. Now go to the Effects and Presets panel and type in Tint, and let's apply the tint effect dun sa layer natin to knock off all the colors. So ngayon, ang objective natin is to move yung layer natin in random positions at different points in time. So we can do this by adding a wiggle expression to the position property. Kaya lang, when we apply the posterized effect time later on, hindi siya magiging effective. So what we can do to achieve that is to add a transform effect doon sa layer natin. So now, Alt-click on the position property doon sa transform effect, and then type in wiggle, open parenthesis 6, comma, and add a very high value number, like for example 500, and then close parenthesis, and click anywhere to place the expression. So, ang ginagawa nitong wiggle effect is minumove niya yung layer natin into random position in a smooth direction. Ano? Kaya lang, gusto natin kasi nagbabago-bago siya every 4 frames. So, to do that, let's add another effect by typing in posterized time dun sa Effects and Presets panel natin and dragging it to our layer. And then set nyo yung frame rate to 6 frames per second. And what this does, it changes the value or the position of your layer every 4 frames. So ngayon, let's head back to our main jittery type composition, and then with the texture layer selected, change the blending mode to multiply, and hit T to adjust the opacity and change it to 30%. So now, pag preview nyo na itong video na to, makikita nyo na yung this cool jittery type of animation in effect dun sa inyong text. So I hope you learned something from this tutorial, and as always, if you find this very helpful, please share this to your friends, and please consider also subscribing to my channel if you haven't done it yet. And remember, always keep learning. Bye!